Well, greetings all, and welcome to the Buddha's Invitation. Another installment done while driving. In the last video, we talked about how the Buddha offers us a path whereby we lead lives that are ethical, calm, and full of wisdom. That's kind of the vision. And at the end of that video, we talked a little bit about the Eightfold Path and the Four Noble Truths. And today I thought it would be a good idea to delve a little more into the Eightfold Path, because it really is the blueprint that the Buddha offers us to lead our lives. And it's actually the first teaching that the Buddha delivered. It wasn't the first thing he realized, which is what's known as the dependent origination. But this was his first teaching to some former companions of his who were fellow spiritual seekers. And they had practiced very ascetically. They had denied the body any sort of pleasure and even nourishment. The Buddha said he would eat 1 grain of rice a day, and then he would eat 1 grain of rice every other day. And he knew he was going to die if he kept up that practice. So he set off on his own, and he did gain total and complete enlightenment, and then came back and delivered his first teaching to these former companions of his, who became his first followers. So the first thing the Buddha tells us is that we should not follow either one of these extremes. You should not follow just indulging all sense pleasures, and you should not try to deny the body everything. He said we need to lead the middle path, the Majjhima Patipada. And he says, if we lead the middle path, it will lead us to calm, to direct knowledge, we might say gnosis even, to enlightenment, and to nirvana. And then he spells out what this middle path is. It has these 8 parts, the Eightfold Path. Right outlook, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration, samadhi, right samadhi. And I think that to me, it's just so beautiful, because it's a well-balanced diet. I think sometimes people will tell you that, all you have to do is be a good person to go through life, or even all you have to do is be mindful. But that is not the Buddha's teaching. It's a little more, it's much more balanced. And you can tell that actually it's hard to do just one thing. Like, let's say that the only thing we needed to do in life was meditate. Well, we would still have to learn that from someone. So it would always be about more than just the one thing. We would have to learn about that. So I think that's, again, what I like about the teaching. And it isn't something that you actually start and work through progressively. We're practicing them all at the same time, actually. And they can help deepen one another. But having said that, it does make sense that say we start with right outlook, samadhi. And if you go to yoga classes, you'll sometimes hear them, yoga teacher talk about your drishti, which is literally your gaze. So this word is connected with gaze or sight. Here, just our broad outlook. If we have that sort of wrong, then other things can go awry as well. But at the same time, one thing that the Buddha tells us is that we all suffer from greed, anger, and delusion. That's actually another way to, the description of nirvana is the absence of greed, anger, and delusion. So it's not like we can just start with the completely perfect outlook. we will gain more insight into that as we practice. But we do need to spend some time making sure that our outlook is correct, in as far as our experience and our knowledge, and in as much as wherever we are, we need to make sure that we're practicing or examining our outlook. One thing about Ditthi for the Buddha is speculative views are usually just not entertained. The Buddha says that they're just not conducive to leading the spiritual life. So that's obviously a good place to start. But everything, any one of those path factors can help elucidate others. So the more we practice mindfulness and meditation, we gain insight that informs our outlook, and that informs how we want to speak to people and our actions, and so on and so forth. I also think that the way the Buddha describes it is we have this broad outlook, and then we have right intention, or sammasankappa. Kind of our thoughts have to be right, and then our speech, and then our actions, and then the way we lead our lives. And that seems very natural and organic. That's a good progression. But again, we can, through our actions, we might modify an action and realize that some of our behaviors are not very conducive to leading to calm, to direct insight, to enlightenment, and to nirvana, the quenching of greed, anger, and delusion. So that's kind of what I have to say on that. Obviously, these are all of these path factors are extremely deep. Right outlook, the Buddha has many teachings that would fit there. But again, I just think that this is really good. I would compare this to a diet. If someone tells us to take up a diet where we just eat fruit or just eat one thing, usually that diet, it might help you lose weight or something, but it's probably not overall that good for your body. And I think that likewise with certain spiritual practices, when we say we just do one thing, we have to be careful about what that one thing is. I think we're always practicing these different path factors anyway. Maybe not so much the meditative side, but we don't want to take our focus off of any of them. We want them all to be kind of healthy. We want to make sure that they're all samma, which is right, correct. And the last thing I would say is that the Buddha offers us a way of calibrating that, because this path, if we take up this practice or these practices, that they should produce calm, insight, enlightenment, and nirvana. And we should at least feel like we're moving in that direction. So that's where I'll leave that for now. I really, really would love to hear from you, dear listener, and hear about your experience and what you think about the Buddha's teaching there. Peace.